Reeling in feisty walleye is a sure cure for spring fever. Up next, Jon shares tricks to tapping the hottest bites the post-spawn has to offer.
There's one right there at the boat. Holy smokes. That's got to be a pike the way he hit it. I'm sure it is the way he's fighting. I was just reeling it in to start back up. And this fish smacked it. Heck no, good walleye. What am I thinking? I was just reeling up to make a move. Not actually really make a move as much as just start working my way that direction. And I was reeling in and this fish just smoked it. That's cool. That's cool. Man, you gotta like that. That's how you like to start. That's an awesome fish right there. Boy, that fish just drilled it as I was coming in, and I thought sure just because of the way he bit it that it was gonna be a pike because he just killed it. But nope, it's the right one. How cool is that? Great way to get started. Here's what we're doing today. It's spring. Water temps on the lake I'm on are 63 degrees. These fish are spreading out now to offshore structure, but I'm on a smaller lake and it's a shallower basin. So it warms up pretty quick. And this year, you know, while we had a little bit of an early ice out, we have not had a scenario where the water warmed up very quick. The water has actually been really, really cold, and it's just, we just haven't had that heat yet. So what's going on is some of the bigger lakes are struggling to warm up. So I chose to go to a smaller lake today and just take a swing on a lake where I haven't been this year. I don't really know much about what's going on. There's a few boats out here, and this lake's just loaded with mid-lake humps. But as soon as you start seeing that low 60s, you can bet that those fish have left shore. Like I say, on your big bodies of water right now, they're still on shore. I mean, they just haven't bailed out yet just because of the fact that the weather's been what it's been. But these are the kind of lakes you can get on and find a bite on. And you know, that right there, that just goes to show you that's an aggressive walleye long past the spawn. And because of water temps on this body of water, he's out here eating. He's not thinking about anything else. Where on a lot of these other lakes, they're in that transition. The bigger bodies of water, because the water temps are in the mid 50s, they're transitioning and the fish aren't quite as aggressive yet. So it just goes to show you that sometimes it's about finding a different body of water, finding a body of water that can warm up a little quicker. And a few things go into that: a shallow basin, maybe a smaller body of water. I like lakes with a little bit darker color, especially at this time of the year if I'm going to fish that shallower stuff, because it allows you to go right over the top of these fish. Heck, I'm only in 10, 11 feet of water right now. There's fish. Oh, got nipped at. There he is. Yep, he is there. Yep, this fish, I felt him nick at it and he must have swam toward me. That's all I can think, is he must have come toward me because I couldn't really tell what was going on. Another good walleye. Oh, come here, buddy. I couldn't really tell when I reeled back what exactly was going on. Well, I'll tell you what it was. He had come toward me a little bit. I just felt that little bit of a nick, and that's why it's so important when I'm jigging that I use super line. And when I'm talking jigging, I'm talking jigging like I'm doing today. Not a dragon jig scenario where I've got a ton of line out and I don't want the fish to feel me because I'm in the rod holder. I'm talking when I want to feel the bite. When I want to feel the bite, that super line gives me just that little tick. And as soon as you feel just that little tiny tick, you know you got a fish that has grabbed it. And I had a feeling he was there. I just needed to do a little bit of investigation, a little bit of reeling back to him to see exactly what we had going on. Great keeper size fish. We're gonna throw him in. Perfect, 15 3/4 inch walleye. That's exactly what we're chasing today. Just trying to stack a few of these up, catch some bigger fish along the way. But man, this is the ideal scenario. This is great. That's an awesome fish. We'll have a walleye for dinner tonight. Perfect. We're rolling. About the same spot that I got that last fish too. Let's see here. Pretty simple deal what I'm doing. Just pitching this jig out, getting away from the boat a little bit. I think even in this, you know, this is a little dirtier water, but even in this dirtier water, it's important to get out away from the boat a little bit when you're in a shallow water as I'm in. I'm in 10 feet of water. I can graph a fish here and there. I'm not graphing a lot of them though. Okay, just because we're so shallow. I think sometimes what happens is the boat will come over the top of them, it'll spook them a little bit. So it helps to be out away from the boat a little, because that fish, when I say spook, he might just go that way, you know, 5 feet and get outside of the cone, but he's still in the neighborhood and I'm still coming through bouncing that jig, and it still grabs his attention, especially when they're in a feeding mode. You look at a day like today, this should be the kind of day where they're gonna feed pretty consistently for the majority of the day. There he is right there. Oh, just turned and I'm coming up the back edge. That feels like an eye. That doesn't feel like a pike. It feels like the right thing. I just turned and I'm coming back up the edge. We just went through another one of these little rain showers and I just drifted all the way down this spot. And there's fish on it. But on the back side of it, kind of where you wouldn't expect it. Oh yeah, it's a good eye. On the back side of it, this fish bit it. Look at this one. Look at that. Conventional wisdom tells you be on that side because the wind's coming in there. Look at this fish. This one here is on the back side of it. Look at that. What an awesome walleye. We'll take that. I gotta tell you, I just turned the boat and started back, and you kind of go through that thought in your mind that, well, you know, I gotta get back down to that end of it and then over the top of it to get these fish caught. So I wasn't really even thinking that I was gonna get bit right there, and then this guy just snaps it as I'm dragging along at the back of the boat. That's just awesome. Get out of here, buddy. We'll take that. You know, one of the things I want to point out is when you're fishing this shallow water, one of the things that I think is just so ultra important is using a jig. Cut me a little bit there. Using a jig that's light enough that you can get out away from the boat. And I know it's so simple for people to get excited about tying on that 1/4 ounce jig and having total control and knowing right where they're at. Sometimes what you got to do to catch fish is get away from the boat. And part of that is just trusting that you're moving it along up above the bottom and using a light enough jig that you can get out away. So what I'm doing, this isn't super precise. I'm seeing my line touch down periodically as I'm on the bottom, almost on every jig. Then I just, you know, put a little on it every time, and I'm just pulling it back toward me and or just dragging it, but I can get out away a little bit. And it's so important because if you got that 1/4 ounce jig, you're gonna be straight down. A 1/4, a 3/8, you're gonna be straight down, and that's fine when you're fishing 20 feet or more and you're sitting over the top of fish. But these fish that I'm catching right now, 7 to 10 feet of water, man, that's tough. You're not gonna get many fish right under the boat. You're either getting the fish to come back toward you while you're casting and reeling, or you gotta get them dragging out a little bit away. So make sure you're using a jig light enough, like an 1/8 ounce jig, because it puts you in a position of being able to get far enough away from the boat. We're in the middle of another one of those little spits. Man, it's just on and off all day. But I'll tell you, if you don't mind fishing in the rain, putting on the rain gear, sometimes fishing can be pretty doggone good, and right now it is. There's one, got him. Ooh, did he smash it? Let's hope that's the right kind of fish, because if it is, boy, he just hammered it. He feels heavy. He doesn't feel like a pike. He hit it like a pike, but he doesn't feel like a pike. Right now, he's not darting around, and he's a little heavier, and most of the pike we've seen today are all the smaller varieties, so guess I'll tell you in a second. Here we are, nice walleye. Look at that. Perfect. Great way to wrap up a day. What an awesome fish. Man, did he just smash it too. That is just cool. Tell you what, it's a pretty simple deal. Well, a lot of those lakes out there are a little bit too cold. Look to some of these smaller lakes. Get into them and do some jigging. find some of these lakes that have a walleye population, and some of this mid-lake structure. It's easy to find nowadays with all the maps available. Grab some Lindy live bait jigs and get out and just slide along these things, man. I'll tell you what, that's awesome right there. What a great day. Get out of here, buddy.